Hey everybody, this is Art with Living Roots. Just a continuation from my thought yesterday and then last week as well. Just speaking a little bit about how to read the scriptures. We can easily read the scriptures and ask the question, how does this apply to me? How does it speak to me? Or what do I get out of this? Or what does this mean for me? That kind of thing. But I think a healthier perspective is to think of the scripture as God's story. The story's not about us. The story's about God and his pursuit, his love for us. And with that in mind, how to read scripture on any given day with that perspective, we ask 4 questions. Who is God? What has he done, specifically through the person and work of his son, Jesus? The third question is, who are we in light of that work, in light of who God is, and how are we to live because of who we are? So we still end up with the same end question. How does this apply to me? What am I supposed to get out of this? But it introduces and it starts from the premise of who God is first. He's the main character of any given experience through the reading of the scriptures. And so to do that, we ask those questions. And when you read a specific text, because you can do that anywhere that you're reading in the scriptures, and it may not be explicit, may not be clear in regard to speaking to question 1, who is God, but it might speak to question 2, what he's done. For instance, we could be reading a passage and it talks about God judging. Well, then who is God? God is the judge. Then who are we? Even though it's not in the scriptures in that part, who are we? If God is the judge and he judges, who are we? We're the judged ones. So how should we live? You can go in a number of different directions. 1, in a way that's honoring and good right standing with the judge. But 2, not judging others. And so it brings the scripture reading to life in regard to who God is, what he's done, who we are, how we ought to live. And so reading the passage that I read yesterday, John chapter 15, verses 1 through 4, it says, I am the true grapevine. This is Jesus' words again. I am the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine that doesn't produce fruit, and he prunes the branches that do bear fruit, so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given you. Verse 4, remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. And so, as the scripture is clear, who is God here? Specifically, God is the gardener. God, through Jesus, is the grapevine. What does he do? He prunes branches that don't bear fruit, and he cuts off branches. And who are we? We're the branches. So God is pruning and cutting branches off the grapevine. Only cuts off the branches that don't produce fruit. And he prunes those who do. And then it says, how should we live in light of this? We should remain in Jesus. As Jesus is speaking, he says, remain in me. Remain in Jesus. And then he reiterates, you can't produce fruit apart from remaining in him. And one way I started the conversation several devotions ago is the way we remain in Jesus. There's many ways we can remain in Jesus, but one is through the reading of scripture and seeking to find Jesus in the text. Not just reading it and checking it off your list, but truly trying to find Jesus in the scriptures. And then the second way is to be in prayer and dialogue with God, not just asking him for things, but thanking him for things and checking in with him and just talking with him as if he's a friend with you along the way. And so I pray this is helpful for you in the reading of the scriptures. If you do read your scriptures, if you don't, and you're wanting to, and you want to give more examples of this, I would love to give more examples. Just put on the comment section, whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook. Just make a comment. Hey, can you help me find Jesus in the text here in Matthew chapter 14 or whatnot? So just to let me know. We can do it in the Old Testament, anywhere in the scriptures. We can read a passage and find God in it, in answering the questions: who is God? What has he done? Who are we? And how ought we live? God bless you. Pray you're doing well as you shelter in grace. Bye-bye.